I have a second channel, Cube Comp MTDX. Hey everybody. So of course it is the year 2020, so it's kind of be expected for anything that could go wrong just to go wrong. Well, so Facebook this year has come up with this absolutely terrible layout. Yeah, as if things couldn't get worse. I mean, so the nice Facebook interface that we've all come to love for many years that we would see on the desktop browser. Facebook decided, oh, we're going to do away with that and replace it with something they call better. Well, no, this is not better. Okay, there's one thing I like about the new interface is dark mode. That's the only thing. The rest of it is garbage. It's absolutely terrible. It's about the equivalent of YouTube coming up with their new Studio to replace the Creator Studio Classic, which took a interface that worked really well, it was easy to navigate, and replaced it with this horrible mess. And I have a video about the YouTube Studio on the channel as well. So luckily though, for those on Facebook, if you happen to be a page administrator or the administrator of a Facebook group, at least right now, you can go back and look at the old Facebook layout, and we're about to do that. They do this. They make you do this every 48 hours. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's go back to the classic Facebook where everything is so much easier to use. Now, before I do it, just have a look here. This is my left monitor. It's a 1280 by 1024 resolution monitor, 19-inch monitor. And you can see how everything is just jam-packed on here. Everything is just super bloated. It's just an absolute freaking mess. So, alright, so let's go ahead and switch. Okay, so now we're back into the old Facebook, which we know is so much better than the new Facebook. Everything just fits perfectly fine on the monitor. Everything doesn't seem super blown up. I mean, now, if your vision is not that great and you need to have stuff big, then yeah, you'll probably like the new Facebook. But you could you can actually increase or decrease the size of the text and elements on a web page by doing Control and scrolling the mouse wheel, which will give you about the same equivalent of the new Facebook. So we'll be using this this feature to make the new Facebook suck less. So as you can see, everything is perfectly sized, and I don't want to go too much into detail, but there are definitely some features in the old Facebook that you don't have in new Facebook. Like, for example, up top, notifications. Used to be in the old Facebook, you had the friend requests and you had the notifications. I can't really go into detail here because I don't want to be revealing my friends' names and stuff on here. We'll go over to my secondary account here in a moment, which doesn't have any followers or friends on it. But so I mean, the old layout was, of course, so much. This is so much better. It's more familiar. It uses Arial for the font, at least on Windows. It uses Arial and not freaking Seago, which everybody's going to now. And also, for certain tasks, like for example, when you share an item to like your personal Facebook, like for example, let me go and try this again here. Let me hit share. I gotta actually go to my personal, and if I do share, you see this option here, it says include an original post. Yeah, that's not there in the new Facebook, at least last time I checked. We'll find out here in a sec. But that's one thing, for example, that they got rid of. I mean, the new Facebook layout for desktop is the equivalent of taking, the mobile Facebook, blowing it up to a full-size screen, stripping it of features. Yeah, matter of fact, when I was using the new Facebook, there were times where I'd have to pull out my phone and go on the Facebook app to do certain things I couldn't do on the new Facebook on desktop. It's pitiful. But yeah, they equivalent. Pretty much. I mean, here's my post on the QQ page about it. If you want to read it. The new Facebook layout for desktop is the equivalent of taking the smartphone or tablet app interface, stretching it out to fit a giant screen, and gutting it of features so much to the point where even the mobile app has more features. Yes, I had to grab my phone in order to share a post from this page to my personal page, include the original text. I later had to revert back to the old layout in order to easily make use of Facebook's facial recognition to make tagging my photos easier. The new layout is just flat out horrible. Like the new YouTube Studio, I had to scale down the size of the web page just to make the new layout fit on my 1280 by 1024 and 1400 by 1050 displays. Now I'm going to talk about this little hack here, which right now is in a state of limbo. So let's go ahead and migrate over to the right monitor. Now this one's on my 1400 by 1050 display. You just look here. Everything is just so freaking blown up. It's huge. And what gets me is, why do all these sites like Weather Channel, for example, weather.com with their redesign, and other sites, Twitter, why does everybody have to use Segoe UI? Don't we get enough Segoe UI in the Windows operating system? I mean, dang. I don't want my Windows system font on almost every freaking web page I have to go visit. I don't like it. I mean, Arial is not the best font either, but why not Open Sans? Or hey, why not Tahoma? The old Facebook years ago used Tahoma, like MySpace. But no. Want to do the same crap everybody else is doing. Use Segoe UI. All right, so let's say I want to share this post. Share the newsfeed. Let's see here. Oh, look, they finally got it back. Include original post. But let's see, for example, I'm going to have to go back to my other Facebook to really try this. But I mean, just look. You see how blown up everything is on this 1400 by 1050 display. And you compare it to this display running the old Facebook, the classic layout. And it's I mean, minus the fact that the new Facebook has dark mode, I prefer this hands down over the old stuff. I mean, excuse me, the new stuff. So of course the top bar on the new layout, you have all these different options here. And let's see, we got home, friends, which from what I noticed did not show friend request, watch, marketplace, and groups. Now it's really, you think about it, it's just really in a different spot compared to the old layout. The old layout, most of that stuff is over on the left. I mean, again, it's like the mobile smartphone interface just blown up to be super large and crammed onto a desktop display. Now let's be honest here. Probably the reason why everything is blown up so big on my displays is because my displays are not 1080p displays. I swear, it's like web devs over at Facebook and YouTube. For example, I mean the new YouTube Studio, I had to shrink the web page down to make it fit on my monitor. It's almost as if they assume everybody out there is running 4K displays, 1080p displays, just giant monitors with a crap ton of pixels. So they just, when they engineer their website, they just, by default, or really only I guess I should say they only design it one way, and that's to be super big. So that way, when you spread out across a giant 4K display or a 1080p display, everything's not so big, but when you're on a monitor like this, let's say 1400 by 1050, everything is just so freaking huge, and it's so annoying. Now, for example, off topic a little bit, let's go over to YouTube Studio. I mean, you see how everything is real small? That's because this layout is so horrible. They made the text not so big, but they made the size of the page so ridiculously huge that I had to shrink it down. I mean, the text is barely big enough to read, yet at least it fits on my display. I don't have to go back forth to see, the monetization or the amount of likes or dislikes. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. So, if we go back over to Facebook, it's ridiculous. Now, here's the thing. Now, I talked about this earlier. So, a way you can fix the everything being too big issue is to press Control and scroll down on the mouse wheel. You can make it small as you like. And for me, 90% makes it a whole lot better. At least 90% makes it more like the classic Facebook. Yeah. So, I'm going to try another thing before I go on to the next part of this video. I'm going to add some photos temporarily onto my secondary Facebook and see if I can tag myself in them. See, now in the old layout, you would get a box across your face with a little option below to type your name in or to tag yourself or a friend. But see, that's just simply not there on the new layout. It's ridiculous. And this is another example. Now, if I can see, up in the corner, I just clicked edit, but that doesn't give me the option to tag. Okay, where's the option to tag? It's like, is it non-existent? Okay, tag photo. Click on the photo to start tagging. See, I can manually tag it. But see, the old layout, it was simply, it would do this for you. Sometimes it would tag you yourself for you, and I wasn't really much of a fan of that. But it would recognize faces, outline them with a little box, and you would have the option to tag the photo or confirm it if it's you and things like that. Well, the new layout seems that they seem to have gotten rid of that. Okay, so now we're back over on my real Facebook, and you can see, for example, it's sometimes you get these little false detections down here. You see a little box popping up. Type any name, it thinks there's a face there when there's not. But it still shows an example of what the old layout would do, and it was convenient. It was convenient when you're uploading photos of yourself or your friends and you want to tag them. The Facebook's facial recognition just picked it up, and bam, there you go. So why is this going from the new Facebook? I mean, I don't know. So I'm going to briefly hover over my name to outline the box on my face. See, there you are. So while the crappy new 2020 Facebook layout is not the biggest thing that's being talked about right now as far as Facebook goes, it's definitely something that people are not really much a fan of. It's so much to the point that several people have come up with their own add-ons or extensions for Chrome or Firefox that would allow it would take advantage of workarounds that Facebook hadn't patched to get you back into the old layout. Now, what worked for the longest time was, for example, old layout. What it would do is it would tell your browser to say, hey, I'm an older version of the browser that the new layout doesn't support. Well, Facebook patched that October, I think, the 20th. And then the authors of these extensions, they found a different hack, and that was to use upload.facebook.com. And Facebook has since patched that. Matter of fact, it's using the upload.facebook.com redirect right now, and it's still not working. So it's a game of cat and mouse. Facebook would patch one thing up, and these developers would find a new hole, and Facebook would patch that up, and it's, again, a game of cat and mouse. And, for example, old layout, that extension, I think, has like 600,000 different users, and this is only old layout. This is not factoring in other options out there that do practically the same thing. So it's safe to say that there's quite a few people on Facebook that are not pleased with this new crappy interface. I mean, I think it's flat out awful. To be honest. So it's like YouTube Studio. You know, it's the big tech ignoring what the users like and just saying, the heck with you, we're going to do things our way and you're just going to use the site whether you like it or not. Because, Facebook, a lot of people use Facebook. And that's just it. They just, it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. They could care less about what the end user wants. Be like, oh, provide feedback. We take feedback very seriously. No, you don't. If you took it seriously, you would abolish this crappy layout before you would ever force it on anybody. See, they started the new layout, I think it was back in May of this year, 2020. It was optional. Try the new Facebook, but you can go back to the old Facebook if you want. So that's what I've been doing all year long. And then I think it was in September, they started trying to force us over to the new one, and I had to keep going back to the old one, and eventually they got rid of the option altogether. But for page admins like myself, I can still go back and use the classic Facebook. I don't know how long that's going to last, and I have to keep clicking that every 48 hours. And really, be honest, I don't think it lasted 48 hours last time. I think it lasted like a day and a half, if even that. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like, come on, Facebook, and come on YouTube, and come on Big Tech. Why don't y'all actually listen to feedback from users that use your site and actually design a site to fit how the users want it? I mean, this new Facebook, it's like, what are you doing? It's the only thing, like I say, the only thing I like about the new Facebook, really, I would say about the only thing is the dark mode. Other than that, I'd assume use the old one. So anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this little rant video. Thanks for watching. Well, everybody, that's it for this video, but don't forget there's a lot more interesting stuff on the channel to check out. Also, if this is your first time visiting this channel, feel free to subscribe to keep your channel, and also don't forget to tick the bell so that way you'll get notified of new video posts. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. But if you really didn't like it, there is the alternative option available as well. Also, feel free to check out my second channel, CubeComp MTDX. There you'll find videos about bicycling, weather, elevator tours, and all sorts of other neat, interesting stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to come back, and thank you for your support.